So, Father Greg, I can't help but notice that you're wearing your collar.
Listen, some people have had the temerity to say that I'm not a real priest. How dare they? These are the same people that have nothing but good things to say about Father Dan. Oh, Father Dan's the best. Oh, Father Dan's delightful. Oh, we need to see more of Father Dan on this show. Oh, thank God a real priest is there.
What's happening, party people? Welcome to Punch Board Party. My name is Daniel. This is Father Greg, and we are here for our best board games for the month of October. If you're familiar with these videos, we talk about all of the board games that we played in a particular month. This month is October. And then we're going to tell you what the best board game we played that month is. So we just have a big, long conversation about all the board games, and we want you to engage down below. We love hearing what you guys are playing, what you guys like in the board gaming hobby, what we might like to try. So let us know in the comments down below what you've been playing, what your best of the month are, and all that fun stuff as we go along and talk about everything.
That's right.
And if you're not subscribed to the channel, party people, why don't you just subscribe right now? Because we love you, and we'd love to have you. And press the like button, because, you know, that's good for us too. And without any further ado, Father Greg, why don't you start us off?
Well, you know, there was a guy on here just last video, Father Dan, who you all seem to like a lot more than me. And
it's not personal, Father Greg.
Not bitter.
He's better.
Not bitter or sad. I'm going to get mad or anything. But he had a 40th birthday, which also happened to be his twin brother's birthday, coincidentally.
Weird how that
Weirdly. And so his wife, Dave's wife, not Father Dan's wife, Dave's wife decided to host a full day of board gaming, a full, I showed up there at 9:30 and I left at supper. It was a full day of board gaming, and they even played some games, after I left. But
right.
You might think, well, full day of board gaming, you must have got through at least 10 games or something like that. Nope. We got through 3.
That's right.
So they're pretty heavy games. Dave's, likes good crunchy Euro. So the first game we played was Pulsar 2849. One of the games that showed up in Father Dan's top 10. And crunchy game. You're in space. You're building satellites. You're harvesting energy from pulsars. I don't know how.
I don't even know what a pulsar is.
Big star that's spinning really, really, really fast.
Okay, sure.
Not Vladimir Suchi's best, in my opinion.
Okay.
But I don't think it's Father Dan's either. But,
no, it's not.
But it's still a solid game.
That's awesome. Okay, first for me, it took me. I was slow to get going in my gaming in October, and so the game night at the church, I think it was the 6th or something. I finally played something. Dragomino.
Good start. Good start.
There was a young kid, and he wanted to play Dragomino because he was familiar with it. I was talking to his dad, and so we just kind of got into the game. And you know what, Dragomino, I talk about quite a bit here on the channel, play with the kids a bunch. I like it. As a kid's game, it works really well. You can play it in 5 minutes flat. And it works like King Domino in a very family-friendly version. I still have trouble with the fact that you're not guaranteed points for connecting tiles.
Right.
You might pick up an egg that's a broken egg, and so you only get points for the dragon eggs that are full of a little baby dragon. And that makes my kids cry, and that's not fun. And I don't know how to deal with that and navigate that emotionally for them.
Right on. The next heavy Euro that I played was Messina 1347.
Wow.
Another one of Vladimir Suchi's.
Was it just a Suchi day?
Pretty much. So I like Messina, I think, a little bit better than Pulsar. That's maybe an unpopular opinion.
I think it is.
I think many people rank Pulsar higher, but Messina's fun. It's got this puzzly aspect where you're moving guys around the village, and you're putting nuns and tradespeople and nobles in the village, and you have to place them in such a spot that your guys can go and visit them, but then you can take them off out of your village and score points. But so it's you kind of want to leave them in there long enough that you can run your little dude by them and get all that they're good for, and then ship them off to get points.
Okay.
So
how do you acquire these things? Is it worker placement?
You go to different spots on the central board, and you rescue them. But then if they're sick with the plague, they have to go into a quarantine cabin so they don't show up into your village for like another 2 turns. But you can put them to work in the quarantine cabins if you like, you could send them to like, why don't you chop some wood while you're recovering from the plague, like
because that's how I recover from.
Well, you're just like if you're just sitting in a quarantine cabin for 2 weeks, I'm not just gonna leave you there idly twiddling your thumbs. Like
I'm gonna put you to work.
That's right. Got these non-chopping logs. Anyways, yeah, it's a good game.
Fun. Okay, so Father Greg and I, we played what I consider just a delightful game, but this is probably the weirdest game that we played this month. This is Imaginarium. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is a Bruno Catala and Co. design, and holy Toledo, man, they must have been dropping something when they were making this game, because they went out to lunch. So everyone complains about the graphic design of this game and the art style, and I mean, yes.
The big mouth in the middle of the board is something else.
It's not good. It's off-putting. It's weird. But you know what? Just like get past that, and you just get to some really weird mechanisms that you also have to kind of just push through. Like this is a game where you have to push through quite a bit.
But you push through that.
Yeah. And you actually get to a really solid little kind of Euro game here. Mm-hmm. An engine builder. An engine builder / engine destroyer.
Right.
So that's a fun little thing that this game has going on. So basically, in Imaginarium, you have your little worker pawn, and you send them out, and you either draft a card or get some Charcoalium. So you're the game Charcoalium, which you use to purchase cards from the card row, and then you add these cards into your own little tableau, but they come in broken. And then you have to repair them. And so then after you draft a card, then you have 2 actions that you can perform. And this is really neat. There's like a little clock dial on your player board, and it has 2 arms kind of sticking out kind of right next to each other. And so there's actions on a wheel, about 6 or 7 actions or something, and you choose 2 of them, but they have to be side by side. And so they're not always, the actions that are side by side aren't always the actions that you want to be doing together. And so you kind of have to make the most of what you got going on. And so then that's the bulk of your turn, is kind of taking the action. So either repairing the machines that you brought into your tableau, building them, or maybe you're destroying them, because when you destroy them, you get double the resources that they cost to build. You can also get straight up victory points for destroying them. But basically, along the way, you're building an engine, and you can build cards in such a way that you build them on top of one another, and so now they're going to produce more things, or they're going to be able, if you build a card on top of a particular resource, then when you run your engine, that resource that was on that bottom card now automatically feeds that engine that you just built on top of it.
Right.
And so you no longer have to just spend a resource. It automatically has a resource to spend, and it then produces what it would produce if you were to give that resource away like you normally would. And so there's neat systems that you can build. But it all comes down to, there's all these kind of scoring goals.
Yep.
And there's these assistant cards. And these assistant cards break all the rules. So at some point, Father Greg wasn't even having to be restricted by his actions.
Right, that was huge.
He could do whatever 2 actions he wanted to do. And so this is a game where you go in thinking you know what it is. Mm-hmm. And then as you're playing it, you're like, oh no, this is not what I think it is at all. Like, I can play this game in a totally different way. So based on the assistance that I got, I barely ran an engine. Mm-hmm. I just built machines and destroyed them. Mm-hmm. And that was just my game, essentially.
Right.
And ended up winning with that strategy, too.
Weirdo.
So, weird. But I really enjoyed it.
Right.
I thought it was a lot of fun, and I'd like to play it at a higher player count. What did you think of it?
No, I think the leaders, like, or the assistants or whatever, those are, like, pretty... Some of them are not that great. Some of them, like, they cost different values. So the ones you buy for 1 are, like, not going to change the game that much. But, like, the ones that you spend 6 or more Charbonium on, like, those are the ones that, like, are going to really alter the game. And, like, you got one that was, 6, and mine costed 8 or 9 or something. So, fun game. Yeah, weird concept, weird design.
Yeah, weird graphics, weird mechanics, weird everything.
Right.
Weird but good. Yeah. It's like a Turkish Delight chocolate bar. That's weird but good.
And then finally, at Dave's birthday bash, so after we played those 2 beasts, I was pretty much done.
And they were like, you know what?
They were like, let's play another one. I was like, oh, God. So we played San Juan.
Oh,
so
that's
just
okay.
a little kind of card drafting, card building.
A little Race for the Galaxy, sort of.
Yeah, I guess so. I've never played Race for the Galaxy, but yeah, you get these, like, I don't know, factories that, like, produce goods, like, they're not factories, but fields, I don't know, whatever. They produce sugar, they produce, I don't know, whatever other goods are in this game, but it's weird because, like, each field can only, like, harvest one good. So, like, you produce sugar, but, like, you can't produce any more until you get rid of that sugar by, like, selling it off or whatever. So, you're always kind of trying to balance filling up your fields and then selling off as many of them as possible, and then repopulating them, and then selling them off as possible.
And it's kind of a follow the leader action, right? Where someone declares what action you're doing, everyone does that action.
That's right. And so you can kind of see, oh, he's already got full fields. I could take the grow stuff action, and he won't be able to get anything out of it because his fields are already full.
I've never been able to get the knack of that action. Like, so roll for the galaxy, that kind of thing, I just struggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of a little bit of a weird game, but yeah, it was good.
Cool. Okay, so last month, you would have heard, we started into our new style of playing games and choosing games, our game group. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of went for our second play, well, my second, Father Greg's first in this round of playing Dune Imperium.
Right.
So and then just last night, we played our third game, or whatever, of Dune Imperium. So we're just, our goal is to play games enough that we can just sit down, avoid any rules teach, and just play. And last night was the first time at Dave's house where that actually happened.
Right, we just sat down and played a game.
We played. Holy, that was fun, man.
It was fun.
That was really fun. And something else we did, because we were kind of like, it was a little late, but Dave was like, we know it, like, this is going to be a breeze, like, we can play this. Mm-hmm. So Father Greg implemented this new app. He got this new app on his phone. That's basically like a stop clock.
That's right.
For our turns. So kind of like a chess clock. Mm-hmm. Where when you turn, it's going to run, and then you say stop, and then it stops until the next person's turn. And so we used that for Dune Imperium, and it added this, like, peculiar sense of urgency.
That's right.
Where I was relying more on just gut instinct, and I did much better than I have been. So, like, Dune was sort of waiting for me because I was like, maybe I just suck at this game. Maybe I just don't. But I competed well last night. Mm-hmm. I had some good things going on, and I really enjoyed the play of it, and it was fun to have that pressure.
For sure. I'm liking this. I'm going to implement this in a lot of other games. Like, I think having, you don't have to play, like, super fast, right? But if the game says half an hour per player, you give each other half an hour. And if you all know the game, if you're learning it, maybe give yourself another 15 minutes or whatever. But if you're, there's something about just, like, being forced to play, not like hurriedly, but the first couple turns when you're like, you don't really know.
You don't know how
Dune has like a variable game length, like it could go on longer.
Yes.
So you're like, I don't know, like I guess I got to start fast just to.
And this was the first time ever that we had 3 conflict cards left. Mm-hmm. So we finished in the 7th round.
Right.
Which is the earliest I've ever finished that game.
Yeah.
So we were onto something. We were getting a lot of our points early. Like something changed in the dynamic where we were just like going for it.
Well, I went over to Marion Dallas's house, and Marion Dallas had gotten into kind of a habit together of playing a game that I think has been around since 1630.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the game of Cribbage. So me and Mary played a game of Cribbage together.
You're forcing me to put an image of Cribbage right here?
Yeah. It's got a board. It's got cards. You move a little thing along.
Oh my god!
Cribbage is a classic.
How does Cribbage even work?
Does it work? You have to play cards that add up to 15s and like pairs and then like runs and
you just shoot your little peg all the way.
Yeah, you got to get up to like 100. And I forget what the scoreboard goes to, 151 or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, Cribbage is a solid. It's been around for 400 years, so it stood the test of time, as it were. But yeah, Cribbage, fun game.
Okay, speaking of Marion Dallas, so I'm jumping forward in your chronology.
That's fine. Yep.
But we played. We had a nice little game night. Mary was out of town with their daughter and was coming in, and so we played something, which you'll talk about, and then she arrived and we played something all together. And so we played Furnace. And I haven't played Furnace in a long time. And I've had it on my shelf. I love Furnace. But I kind of hadn't played it for a while. And I was sort of getting rusty. So whenever I think about it, I was like, it just wasn't getting to the table. And so we played it. And I'm so glad we did. Because, I mean, I'm not good at it. Like, I really struggle.
Right.
But speaking about engine building games, so like what Imaginarium isn't, Furnace is.
That's right.
So you can depend on Furnace to make sense. Like, okay, I'm going to draft cards into my tableau. Then once we all have cards into our tableau, we're going to kind of run our engine in whatever order we want. And that's where it gets really like, the brain gets scrambled. So you have these auction tokens for drafting the cards. And so in turn order, you just put out your auction tokens. And the rule is that you can't have the same... Like, you can't have your same color, like, 2 times on a card. Like, you can't put 2 of your tokens on one card. And you can't have the same number on the same card. And so then you're going around. And so the person who puts the highest token on a card gets that card into their tableau and then can run that engine. Otherwise, if you're lower than that, you're going to get the kind of just...
Compensation
bonus of that card, however many times... as the number token that you put on the card. And so really a lot of the time, you're kind of just wanting to win the card. And that's where I stink. I end up taking way more cards. Like I totally like don't understand how to play the game. Right. Whereas people are like, oh, he put a 3 there, I'll put a 2 there and get the thing. I just don't think like that. I'm like, maybe I'll do this and maybe they'll go and get it ahead of me, and it's like, no, go where other people are going and you'll be fine. So I'm excited to play again because I think I got a bit more of the strategy, but that's how you get the resources to then put into your engine that you'll run all the cards that you did draft from the tableau. It's just combo, chaining, transforming.
It's a game of efficiency.
Yeah, and I am not efficient.
Like, you have to be... Like, if you're getting from all the compensation bonuses and everything, if you're... At the end of the game, if you're getting... 5 steel, you want to make sure that your engine is using all 5 of those steel. If you're leaving 2 steel that you're not doing anything with, you're falling behind.
Yes.
But if you're using all 5 of those steel to turn them into points or to turn them into oil or to do something else with them. But yeah, so at the end of each round, you want to have as little left as possible. If you've got 1 coal left, then you've done a pretty good job.
Yes.
You know, like, so that's the kind of idea is like if you've got a bunch of coal or a bunch of unused resources, then you've kind of... So yeah, if you like math and you like sitting there and just thinking over things in your head, you might really like Furnace.
Yeah, so, but this definitely is like up there on the list of crunchy, just satisfying, puzzly games. In a really short playtime.
That's right.
In a really short playtime. So this is, this is almost an essential if you're that kind of engine builder kind of guy. Or gal, of course.
Well, I've previously spoken about a game that I quite enjoy called Point Salad.
I've been excited to hear about this.
Marion Dallas got me a copy of Point City, the sort of sequel to Point Salad.
Yes.
So, thankfully, I'm... surprised that this game is very little like Point Salad. You would think that kind of coming up with the exact same like name, box size, and everything, sort of like even look, you would think like, oh, okay, these games are kind of just the same. But they're not. They're very different. But this is kind of an engine builder where you're basically buying buildings, but the buildings get more expensive as the deck goes on, like the level 3 cards are at the bottom and so on. So you're buying these cards with resources, but you're like throwing, so instead of like Point Salad where you're just keeping tomatoes and cabbage in front of you, you're like spending energy and industry to like buy these buildings, but then these buildings give you a permanent power plant, gives you a permanent energy. So now whenever you're buying buildings, you've got a permanent energy. And so
so like a Splendor kind of thing.
Exactly, very much. Yes, actually Splendor's a very good comparison, where basically just the more cards you get, the more things you can buy. And so later on when a building comes out and it costs 3 energy and 3 industry, you're like, no problem, got all that sitting in my city already. So
was it any good?
Yeah, it's good.
Does it have that same dynamic, though, of, like, point cards corresponding to the stuff you have?
Not really. There are some point cards. Like, there are... So, basically, you can buy... Like, when you're buying a card, you're either building a card that's giving you, like, something permanent, or you're building a card that gives you victory points. And so, there's just, like, do I want to build playgrounds just give you victory points? Like, do I want to build a playground right away? Maybe not. I don't know. Like, I want to maybe focus on the things that are going to upgrade my engine and like give me more stuff.
That's a little strange. Because packaging it the way they did.
That's what I mean. It's nothing like Point Salad.
Yeah.
Like
that's the thing that makes Point Salad so good is that like the points are so like the scoring is up to you how you're going to score your game.
That's right.
And so for that dynamic not to really be a play in Point City is disappointing.
A little bit, I can see that. Yeah,
but I haven't played it yet, so I can't.
No, it's fine. It's a light, kind of filler game, but it hits the spot.
Okay, it hits the spot. Speaking of, I played Point Salad.
Oh,
look at that. So the boys discovered Point Salad, and so we've been playing Point Salad, and Sarah's dad and his wife have been visiting us, and so we played Point Salad with them last night. So Point Salad has been now in the rotation. And it's a little bit tricky. Like, the boys they sometimes don't see that there's a point card that's like what they want or need. Right. We have to kind of go, you want this. And they're like, but we want to choose our own stuff. Okay, sure. Grab the tomato when you have a -4 point tomato card, but whatever. But I just love Point Salad. So this is why... When I heard about Point City, I got really excited because I just love the simplicity and the innovation of Point Salad. Just that concept of how do you score points in this game? That's up to you, man. Like, you just grab vegetables and you grab point cards. And you have all point cards, you're not going to get anything. If you have all vegetables, you're not going to get anything. And you got to make the vegetables you're collecting and the point cards you're collecting work. And so I just love that concept. I think it's brilliant. Again, I've said this a long time ago, but I'd love to see a bigger Euro game kind of have that as a central conceit.
You're right.
Because that'd be a lot of fun. Just spending a lot more time with that whole idea and working at it would be sweet.
The next game I played at Marion Dallas's was a game that I think you had played the month before, and that is Planet Unknown.
Oh yeah, there we go.
This is the game of board game tracks. You're just moving up some tracks, and so you put a red next to red.
Do you like track games?
That's right.
Do you like polyomino games? Then you'll like Planet Unknown.
That's right. Yeah. So whereas you said that you finished the game like very early because you couldn't place any more tiles.
I'm terrible at polyomino games. Like the game ends when someone can't.
That's right.
And so it was so good for me.
That's right. But yeah, like we got to the space where I had like 3 empty spaces total.
Wow, that's a lot of points.
And so I was just like, but like we all did. Like we were all putting, all of our polyominoes so that they fit just kind of neatly and nicely and stuff like that. But it's interesting. It has that kind of like Castles of Mad or Between Two Cities thing where like there's goals that are between me and you, and there's goals that are between me and the other person. And so like, for example, you're trying to like harvest a bunch of water or whatever like this stuff is, or the crystals or whatever they are, these blue things. But between me and Mary, there was like a competition for who could have the least water. So like neither of us wanted water, so Dallas was just like happily getting water, but like not worrying about having the most because like it was kind of guaranteed for him. So it was like it's so interesting kind of dynamics between how those kind of point cards relate.
Yeah, I do like those competition scoring cards in the game because it doesn't hijack your whole play. Right. But it's something that you can kind of keep an eye on and just sort of do as you're doing the stuff you want to do. Right. And I like the balance there. It felt kind of mechanically sound.
Yeah. But yeah, you're just moving up tracks and scoring points. That's good.
Okay, so Sarah and I had a little date night and we decided to play Welcome To. It's a nice little game of Welcome To. Ryan Gallagher, a party person, he gifted me with this. He was in his kind of to get out pile. And so I took it off his hands. Thank you so much. And you know what? Delighted.
It is.
Because I love this game. I don't like roll 'em rights, flipping rights as a concept. I'm not drawn towards them. I'm annoyed by them. Like I don't like the idea. I feel like I'm doing homework. Like a pencil for a board game? No. Right? No, thank you. But if you can just like get me past that and over that hill, there's just some really good games in that genre. And Welcome To is one of those games. So Welcome to, you basically have 3 options every turn of a house number and then like an additional bonus, whether it's being able to scribble out the pools, and the more pools you scratch out, the more points you're going to get, or maybe you're able to scratch off your biz, which allows you to put a duplicate number adjacent right beside the same number. I just love, again, the simple choice. On your turn, choose one of 3 things, scribble it down on your player board. You're going to work on parks, going to scratch in those parks, get points for your parks. And then you got some shared kind of goal that you're racing towards. The first person to get it will get more points than the other. And it just all comes together really nicely. I just like that simple puzzle of you have streets of different lengths and you have house numbers from 1 to 15, and you can actually make them go to 17 with one of the abilities. But you're like, okay, if I put the 9 here, then I have to have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, or whatever. Like, sometimes you get yourself worked into. Like, oh, what am I going to do? I love that just basic puzzle of the game. Anyway, I've talked about Welcome to enough, but Benoit Turpin, you've done a great job designing a great board game. And if you haven't checked Welcome to out, you gotta party.
Cool. The next game I played with Mary and Dallas is Carcassonne.
Wow.
Talked about this enough. Carcassonne. Wow. It's just fun.
Wow.
It is a game that you can... I can bring it out with new people and love to play it. I can bring it out with professional seasoned gamers.
Our professional board game crew.
You know, it works for any group. It's just good.
Yeah, no, it's solid. Okay, so Father Dan came over to record his top 10 board games of all time. So before we recorded the video, we played with my 4-year-old son, Ethan, a game of Sushi Go. Father Dan had only played Sushi Go one time before that.
That's a crime.
And so he was like trying to get clarity on the rules. It was a weird experience, because for me this was a game that like everybody knows. That's right. It's super simple to play, and he was just like, okay, so how does this?
Ethan's just like, pick the dumpling, man.
yeah. Just come on, get the sashimi, bro. Get the sashimi. So we played this, and you know what? Sushi Go is Sushi Go is Sushi Go, but it's good. It's just a really good game, and my son can compete, which is nice because it's simple enough.
That's right. Like you can almost just pick any card, and like you won't win, but you'll get a score. Like you know, right. you'll be in the running. Like you're never gonna just picking random cards completely hoop yourself out.
Because that's the counterpoint, is that I won, and I think I tried to win, and I was able to do that. So there is also that. You can do well by doing whatever you want.
Right.
But you can also do better than the other players at the table. And again, just drafting at its simplest mechanism, which is you grab a card, play it, pass the rest of your hand. And that's it. You're just set collecting. And it's so good.
When I go over to Mary and Dallas, sometimes one of them's putting the kids to bed or whatever, so sometimes just the two of us, and so Dallas was putting the kids to bed, so just me and Mary were playing, and so I bought Undaunted, The Battle of Britain. And
Wait for it!
So I previously played a full campaign of Undaunted Normandy with Father Dan. Really, really enjoyed that. It's a kind of just a neat take on like a war game genre, like based in World War II. And so they've made a number of versions now. North Africa and Stalingrad. And
Stalingrad looks really cool to me.
Right, it's kind of like a legacy version, but it's big. Like it's a huge box. But the most recent one, I think, is Battle of Britain. And so Battle of Britain, I would say, has a lot of complexity that Normandy does not have, in that you're flying planes, and so unlike human beings that can just like turn around at will, planes can't. They gotta like turn, like they have to like make a a meandering movement in the sky, and like a human being can just stand still and just wait there and just sit there for a while, but planes can't do that. They constantly have to be on the move, and so like the way that they're facing matters, and the way that like their guns are shooting out to the sides or behind them or whatever matters. And so this is, I would say, much more of like a war game, but we had a lot of fun. It's I mean, Undaunted, I would say, is still like a fairly simple game.
Yeah, for sure.
But just a great like thing where
So what do the tiles look like? Do the tiles look like sky or like what?
No, so a lot of Battle of Britain happens over like water/land. So like a lot of the tiles are just water.
Okay.
And then some of the tiles are like land, and then there's every scenario is a little bit different. So sometimes you're trying to bomb boats that are in the water. So like sometimes there'll be boats that are show up in the water, and the scenario actually looks quite nice. Like they did a nice job with the. Just kind of, even though it's just water, like a lot.
And primarily it's a deck building game, right?
So you draw you start with like a little deck, and then you draw 4 cards, and then you play a card that you're going to get rid of, but that determines your initiative. Like, so whoever discards the highest card gets initiative. Initiative can be really important, especially in some turns. And then you get to play the other 3 cards. But there's like any good deck builder, there's like jump cards, like there's just miscommunication and like fog of war, like you're flying your planes, but you can't hear because you're crappy at it. You're too far away from your other plane and stuff like that. And so there's like cards that do nothing. But basically every time you hit a player, they lose a card from their deck.
Okay.
But then you can also you have kind of like a supply kind of next to you, and so some of the cards will allow you to take cards from that supply and put them into your deck, thereby giving you kind of like more life, if you will.
Yeah, sounds fun. I own the original and got rid of it before I even played it.
Oh, so, man. Yeah.
I'd like to try one of these sometime.
Yeah. So yeah, Battle of Britain I would say is more complex than Normandy, but they're both good so far.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, so after we recorded, we played another game of Father Dan, and I went to go pick up my oldest son from school, and I said, just pick something that we can play in under an hour or whatever. And I got back, and they were setting up Seven Wonders Architects.
Yeah, I was surprised by that one, too.
So we played Seven Wonders Architects. This is funny. I like Seven Wonders Architects a lot, and I reviewed it very positively. But I think it's come to fruition that the target audience for this game is so niche that I barely reach for this game. And so we played it, and again, really enjoyed it. So you have decks of cards, your own deck of cards, you place it in between yourself and another player. And so on either side of you have a deck of cards, and so you can choose from the top card of either of those decks, and those are face-up decks, so you can see what those cards are going to be, or you can draw blind from the middle pile of cards. And that's what you do on your turn. And like Seven Wonders, there's cards that are going to give you straight-up victory points. There's cards that are going to collect you science. If you get a certain set of science cards, you'll grab a science token, which will give you an ability. There's red cards, which will give you military.
Yep.
And those work kind of fun, where you get... There's horns on some of the military cards, and you have to make a horn sound and flip.
You do, yeah. That's right.
It says so in the rules, guys. It says so in the rules. And then when 3 horns get flipped, you resolve the war with your neighbors. Get points if you have more war cards than other people. All the typical Seven Wonders stuff, but just in a very simple, lowest common denominator sort of way. And it works, and it was a lot of fun. And I ended up winning the game without building any of my monuments. So you got a big monument that you're building, and that's how you mainly get points, and that's the end game trigger, is whoever builds their monument, the game just ends. I built 2 levels of my monument, but just had a whole whack of blue cards. And so I liked that there are multiple paths to victory in this very simple card drafting game.
Yeah, I've often said that Seven Wonders is a good game, but not a game that's easy to teach to beginner gamers. I tried to teach it to my parents once. It did not go over well.
I think we all have stories.
But this is that game.
Yes.
This is a game that is so simple. It's so. Do you want wood? And do you need it's not like you need wood because a particular wonder requires wood. It's it needs 2 of the same resource or 2 different resources. Yes. So it's I've got wood. Here's glass. Sure, we'll build a wonder on wood and glass.
Yeah, that's right.
You just need 2 different resources, or 3 different, or 3 of the same, or whatever.
It's just going to tell you on the level of your monument what it requires.
That's right. Yeah. So very, very simple game, but yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, I played a kind of roll and write, I guess, as well, and this is a game that it requires you to have not a high level, but a little bit of level of artistic skill. And that is Welcome to Dino World. And so in Welcome to Dino World, you're building a dinosaur park, but like when you build like a T-Rex pen, it has this like little legend that like shows you how to draw a T-Rex.
Okay.
And so you have to like draw a little T-Rex, in your park. Or if you're really, really lame, you could just put a T, but that's just criminal.
You're missing the experience.
Dallas, this is for you. That is just, you cannot do that. That is so like base. Like, you have to draw a little Stegosaurus. They're not complicated. It shows you. It's a little simple like stickman Stegosaurus, but you got to draw it.
I'm impressed that this is still hitting the table for you.
It's just. Yeah, it's a simple roll and write and flipping. Yeah, it's a roll and write. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the one it is. And it has 2 modes. Like you could play where your dinosaurs can escape your pens or where they can't.
Okay.
So you have like kind of an easy or expert mode if you want.
Right. Okay. So I picked up a couple new games and I got them both played this month, which is rare. Typically they just sit on my shelf for a while. But we played. I invited some guys over and we got a game of The Wolves played.
Ooh.
So The Wolves is a Pandasaurus game.
Okay.
And it is a solid game. So it kind of like hit, everyone liked it, but it wasn't like rave reviews. So it didn't like, but it's like, boom, here I am. I'm a great game. You might look over me, but don't. So the first thing that draws my attention, just the visuals. It's a beautiful game. The cover is beautiful. Your player boards with your wolf, beautiful. The wolf theme is just fun. The board is colorful. So good. So this is a...
Are you a pack of wolves?
You're a pack of wolves.
Wow.
Okay, so you play a pack of wolves. So at its heart, The Wolves is an abstract strategy game. Okay? But you got these cute little wolf meeples. And you move them around. So it's an abstract strategy, area control game. And there's a lot of like minutia rules that they aren't difficult rules, but at first it's like, okay, sorry, can I put my pack wolf into your region when you have a den there? Okay, yes. Can I put it if you have a lair there? No. Okay. Can I put if I have a alpha wolf, can I put it in a spot with your pack wolf? Yes. And it chases the pack wolf out. Okay. So there's just a few things, but lots of movability. Like you can affect the board in your turn quite a bit in one turn. And so it has a little bit, sorry to say, Father Greg, it has a little bit of that Five Tribes vibe. Right. Where you're sitting there and you're watching things play out, and by the time it gets back to you, you kind of still have to look at the board again and be like, wait, like what happened?
This is a good game for a board game timer.
Yes. Yeah. A big criticism of it is the AP. But I thoroughly enjoyed this game. This game I'm not usually like hungry for player interaction in games. When people say, this game is multiplayer solitaire, that doesn't bother me. I'm actually like, oh, I might like this game. But this has high player interaction and like thrills in the interaction. And it's a cool thing where it's like when someone does something, so you can actually, there's a howl action. No, there's an action called dominate where you can actually turn a person's den into your den. Or turn a person's wolf into your wolf. And so that like swings the landscape pretty big. But that's not like in other games when things like that would happen to you, it kind of hurt, like it kind of be raw. But in this game, you can do all the things that anybody else can do. Like on your turn, you just have full access to all the actions that another player has. So you just go and you dominate back or whatever the case may be. Now, of course, you might not be able to because the core mechanism is an AP-prone but brilliant mechanism where you have these tiles in front of you that match the different terrain types that are on the board. And different actions require you to be able to flip a certain number of tiles of the terrain type that you want to affect. So you want to move a wolf to a terrain type, you need to flip one tile of that terrain type. You want to dominate a wolf that's in a particular terrain type, you need to flip 3 tiles of that terrain type. But you're flipping these tiles to do all the actions, and so you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I have 2 of that terrain type, but I don't have a 3rd. I have to flip this tile to get my 3rd of that tile type, but I don't want to do an action on that space yet to get that tile flipped. But so it's a puzzle. And that might sound horrible to some of you. But to any of you where that sounds even remotely interesting, it was fun. It was fun. I had a lot of time. I had a great time playing the Wolves.
Nice. Cool. Well, jumping back to where Dan said that he was playing with Mary and Dallas, I dig over to, Mary and Dallas' house, but Mary wasn't there.
That's right, Dallas' house.
That's right.
Hear that, Mary?
We played, I recently got a Kickstarter expansion for Unfair. And so we set up a game of Unfair. And since then, I played another game of it with Mary and Dallas as well.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Did Mary like it?
Yes.
Yeah. It's good.
It went over well. It's unfair, you know.
It's so unfair,
but it's good. It's just got an attractive theme. And
it made me want to buy Fun Fair so bad because I do find that kind of negative player interaction is kind of the worst. Because you have cards that I won't necessarily see or get.
Right.
So there is a unfair nature to it. But it says it. So it's your own fault.
That's right.
But I do love just the basic, you're just building cards in your tableau, you're making a little theme park for yourself and you have attractions, and then you add on to single attractions to make them like beefy and better, and you're just like, It's hilarious when you got like my theme park was a hotel.
That's right.
And an ice cream shop.
That's right. But like this hotel was like just one of the finest hotels ever.
That's right.
People were coming from far and wide to stay in that hotel.
Yes.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it, and they have ambitious plans. Like they say they're only halfway done because they've still got like 3 expansions more that they need to finish their goal, which is to have like an expansion for every letter of the alphabet.
Right.
So like a different theme park, like Alien, B-movie, comic book, dinosaur, whatever, like just kind of going down the list. But yeah, just fun. You can pick your own theme and just kind of mishmash them together, have Egyptian robots in a time-traveling universe, and just do it. So
Okay, so then after playing the Wolves, we were down here looking around. Daniel Fallman was over. And last month we played a 2-player game of Elysium. And so we were like, 4-player Elysium? Heck yes. I'm on an Elysium kick, man.
Wow.
We're going hard. And you know what? So for the longest time, Elysium was my number 1 board game of all time at one point. And up until that point, I had only ever played with the basic 5 families. And you ribbed me for not expanding into that. And so now these last few plays of it, including this last play we had, I've been really enjoying I throw out the tokens. I just say, hey, pick 5 of those tokens. And then I just put those decks together and away we go. We've been playing with Ares a lot, which adds like a 7 Wonders vibe. Where like how the military works with 7 Wonders, where you just kind of want to stay ahead of your opponents and having the most military symbols. Ares is exactly that, where you get these prestige points and you just want to have the most prestige points by the end of the game. And so I've been playing with Ares and this last game too. And it adds just a whole different complexion where it's like, okay, that's going to be a part of my strategy. Yes, I'm going to build some legends that are going to give me some points. And this game it's wonky. It is wonky. It's hard to kind of figure out. But like basically you get cards into your domain that have special abilities that get you victory points, money, all sorts of stuff like that. But then in order to score points with them, to score the main points with them, you have to move them down to your Elysium and put them in a set. And it's a set collection thing. But then once they're down there, they lose their ability. And so it's this timing thing, and then you realize maximum, you're going to be able to put 15 cards down into your Elysium. And that's if you get that one tile every time.
That's right.
Which you won't. So it's like getting your head around, I'm going to build like 2 legends.
Right.
So how else can I get my victory points? So I've been really experimenting and exploring with getting victory points as the game goes. And like the purple faction really does well with that. Right. Anyway, Elysium is still great.
Cool.
If you have a chance to check it out at least, please check it out.
Then we played a game of Biblos.
Yes. Back at Dave's.
Dave's. Yes, that's right. At Dave's house. Biblos. Yeah. Pick a card and you either keep it for yourself, you put it into a pile where you'll see it later, or you give it to one of your opponents. And you just keep doing that until you get rid of all the cards. And then you go through that deck of cards that you set aside. And you do the same thing. And then each each thing, like each brown card, whoever has the most brown cards wins the brown die.
Yes.
And the brown die could be worth 1 point or it could be worth 5 points. And that depends on how people kind of, modify those dice. You play church cards, so you get someone to denounce monks from the pulpit, I guess, so that they become less valuable.
Monks are stupid, says I.
That's right. I was like, okay, I guess we don't want monks. I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah, and pigments. Pigments are the worst. But by the end of it, somebody's got. So it's an interesting game where like there's a limited scoring pool. Like it's not like, oh, you could score as many points as you could possibly get. It's like, no, there's only 20 so points available.
Yeah.
How they're going to be split between us is a question. So you're kind of like fighting over this like pool of limited points that are available in front of you, which is interesting. But yeah, perennially kind of filler classic.
Yes, classic filler, for sure. And what makes this game brilliant is the hidden information, where on your turn you're looking at a number of cards, and some of those your opponents are not going to see. Mm-hmm. But when you're looking at the cards, you kind of feel like you know a lot. Mm-hmm. And then for me anyway, I forgot that Dave had taken cards without me even seeing them.
Right.
So he had more blue cards. Like I thought I was set with blue.
Right.
But he ended up having just a bit more blue. So like hedging your bets is a big part of the game, like kind of overcompensating. And did you go like overboard in collecting that many cards and ignore another color? It has a lot going for it. Yeah. Dr. Steve Finn.
Yes.
So Sarah was away in London, Ontario with our baby, Eleanor visiting our new baby niece. And so the Wolves and Elysium played on one game night. Then a couple nights later, I had another game night where I invited guys over. And we started the night with the Builders, the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
And so just a nice little engine building kind of worker placement-ish. I don't know. I don't really know how to describe this game. But basically, on your turn, you draft construction buildings, like buildings that you want to construct into your play area. You draft workers into your play area. But then it starts to cost you actions to do that, but also to add these workers. And you have to pay for the workers when you add them to a construction. And there's a neat little thing where the construction requires 4 wood, 3 steel, whatever. And the workers have those resources kind of listed on the side of their card and how many they have. And so you kind of attach them to the card and you attach workers to a particular construction until you've fulfilled all the requirements. And again, it's an efficiency puzzle. Mm-hmm. And a good one at that. And a nice, really, really quick playing one. Yeah, The Builders is one of my personal favorites. I really like it for what it is and for what it does. There's no comparison.
This is a game that I think I had played once in September, but I forgot to mention it in our September plays.
Okay.
Because I played it again in October, and it just records my most recent play and so on. So we've now made it through 3 of these. And this is the game, The Adventures of Robin Hood. So this is a game that was nominated for the Spiel back when. It's half game, half advent calendar. It's got the board is always the same. It's the same 6 pieces that form this board, but you can flip things, and so you'll flip it, and now there's a guard there, so you can't go into the castle because there's a guard and he's going to catch you.
That's right.
Or you flip this, and now you've got a bridge that you could pass between the woods, and so on. So it's like a storytelling game in the story of Robin Hood, and so you're running around and you're trying to fulfill these missions, and there's a bit of not really an I Spy kind of thing, but it'll be okay, you're trying to get into the castle. Who's going to be able to get you into the castle? And you're like, well, I don't know, maybe the blacksmith. I don't know, so you kind of look, you're like, the lumberjack, he goes out into the woods. Maybe he knows the thing that we need, So you kind of go around and ask them, and then you open up a book and you read that spot. And it's a really interesting game. It's a really we're really enjoying it right now. We've played, 3 times. And I would say we haven't lost yet. We're still kind of early on.
Right.
I would say, so it's a cooperative game, but it's I would say fairly easy, in that it's not overly punishing. It's not super, super difficult or requiring you. But there are some moments where we did get lucky even, and if we hadn't, that could have been a different story. Right. It's going really well so far.
That's sweet. I've always been interested in it. It kind of got mixed reviews when it first dropped, but I think for what it is, it sounds
It's pretty neat. It's kind of in one of those games that's like, this could be the most innovative game of the year kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's like a lot of innovative games aren't that good because they like come up with something really new, but they haven't really refined it and perfected
it.
Right.
That's right. Books of time.
That's right. Exactly. No, like there's a lot of games that do something new that's really new, and it's like that's cool.
Yes.
Is it the best? I don't know, but we'll see.
That's right. Okay, and then we played Amun Re, the 20th anniversary edition. So we played a full 5-player Amun Re, and you know what? I don't know what I think about this game yet. I need to play it again, because it was like a strange play of it where I didn't do a great job of clearly teaching the rules. Like, I just learned the rules that day, and there were a few things that were a little unclear as we started, so people were kind of fumbling through. One person didn't really understand what was going on at first. We had one player that was particularly slow,
right?
And so there was just a few factors that I don't think I can entirely blame the game for. But there's a good game here. There's a good game here. I just need to play it again. So in Amun Re, you are essentially participating in a bunch of auctions over particular lands in Egypt. And so at the beginning of a round, cards get dealt out, one for each player, on different provinces on this Egypt board. And then the cards have numbers like that are ascending in value, not exponentially, but sort of. Like it's like 1, 3, 6, 10. Like you just put one of your scribes on one of those spaces, and that's how much you're willing to spend to get that province. And then another player can come along and bid more than you, and so then when it comes back to your turn, you have to go to another province and bid there before you can go back to bid on the province you actually want.
Okay.
So that adds an interesting dynamic. And then once you get control of a province, then there's a phase where you go and you buy things. And you can buy farmers and cards, which are kind of game-breaking in their own right. And you can also buy bricks. And bricks, 3 bricks turn into a pyramid. And you're going to score points for pyramids in your provinces. You're going to get money for farmers in your provinces. And so you're investing. And so you do that for 3 rounds, and then after the 3rd round, you do a scoring round. And so you're going to score points for pyramids in particular ways. And then everything except for the pyramids are going to get wiped. So ownership of the provinces, farmers are going to go away, and now the pyramids are there, and now you do it all over again. 3 more rounds of purchasing provinces. But now there's juicy pyramids already in certain provinces. Okay. And so now there's provinces that are worth more than others, and it was kind of fun.
Okay.
It was intriguing.
Cool. This is a game I've wanted to play for a while, so it's been on my want to play and I never played it.
It's neat. There's a lot of things that I just didn't get a hold of the nuance, and it kind of made for a fumbly play that I'd like to try again with for sure. But a good enough first impression.
Cool. Well, Dallas went and, unbeknownst to him, went and bought a game from Dave Uzinski.
Oh, hilarious.
So they don't know each other, but he just was shopping on Kijiji and went to his house, and he was like, hey, I recognize you. and so on. And so this is a game that Dave got rid of because Dave's complaint about this game is that whoever finishes first always wins the game. So there's like a kind of a timer, and whoever completes the 3 objectives first, the game ends. And Dave says every single time, whoever completes those 3 objectives and finishes the game, plus you get an additional 5 points. And he just thinks that's crazy.
Right.
Well, I can say that Mary finished the game and she did not win. And that is Palaces of Carrera. And not only did she not win, she finished last. So,
I don't know.
So that theory is sunk.
I don't know if this is a slight against Dave or Mary.
Palaces of Carrera is a good game. You can complete all the objectives and still not win. It is possible.
Right. Mary did it.
Mary did it. I have proof.
Good. I love Palaces of Carrera. Yeah. So, again, in getting into playing games with my kids, I had brought up Challengers for one of the game nights. And so then Ethan was like, let's play Challengers. And so we played Challengers. And at first I was like, oh, maybe they're right. Maybe this is just totally random. Because Ethan is beating me. And he doesn't know what he's doing.
Sure.
Until midway through the game, I was able to construct a better deck that worked better than his. So I mean, yes, it's a 4-year-old.
Nearly beat it by a 4-year-old. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing you squeaked out a victory by purposefully putting try-harding against your 4-year-old son. That's what I'm hearing.
But listen. The Challengers is still becoming one of my favorite light filler games out there. I just love this distilled version of deck building, card drafting. I just really love what you're able to kind of do, and the thrill of seeing if what you've built will actually come out in the right order and in fruition.
The next game I played was number 9. So Father Santos had him over, and we stacked some numbers on top of other numbers. And
I was so confused the last time we talked about this game until I looked up the images to put on the video, and I was like, actually, flat cardboard numbers.
You were I was like, I don't know how I can make this any clearer. You take a number, you put it on top of another number. What is complicated about this?
I'm picturing fridge magnet numbers, and you're balancing them on top of each other, and I'm like, this isn't a game. I don't know what this
You're
is.
stacking numbers. That's all it is. It's very satisfying. It's multiplayer, solitaire. Literally score, I guess, the same points if you built your pyramid the exact same way. There's no variability. You all have the exact same game. It's just whoever can make the most points.
Oh, so it's like a bingo style where a number gets called and you use that?
Yeah. You just flip over a card. Everyone takes an 8.
Yeah.
Flip over a card. Everyone takes a 7.
Sweet.
And so but you end up with different points because people build differently.
Okay, so I mentioned Sarah's dad's in town, and so we played a little. He grew up playing trick-taking games, and so we played a little Jekyll versus Hyde.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
What do you mean? Oh my gosh! This is great.
Yeah, it's great. It is great. I don't know. Yeah, sure. Go for it.
So I did realize that the player powers are a little hard to grok for someone who's just used to cards. And so the whole idea of stealing tricks from a player and when you can do that, and he struggled to play as Mr. Hyde. He played as Dr. Jekyll at first, and he was able to kind of keep things fairly even. But then we switched, and he had trouble jumping out of that mode so basically this is a game where either you're trying to make sure that both you and your opponent are getting the same amount of tricks out of the round, or you're trying to get the biggest disparity. So either you want to win all of them or lose all of them. And those are two very different ways of playing.
Yep.
And so to switch back and forth and to know who you're... I'm still trying to figure out who I would think is the easier one to play as. I think, right off the top of my head, I think that Dr. Jekyll is...
Yeah, I think so.
Keeping things balanced is easier. So, but I think this is a delightful trick-taking game.
Yeah.
And a really nice pewter Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde token.
It is a nice token. The next game I played with Father Santos, my new board gaming buddy.
See you later, Father Dan.
Sorry. Was a game of Welcome To. So
you played Welcome To too.
Yeah. And it is great. We had a lot of fun. Just, building. Who doesn't like building 60 suburbs? Numbering houses and building fences. If that doesn't sound to you like a good time, I don't know what does. You've got to be a heartless, soulless person if that doesn't sound like a barrel of fun.
Barrel of monkeys, barrel of fun.
Yep.
Okay, so again, in the theme of just playing games with my family, Strike.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
You've mentioned you love Strike. You just
love it, man.
That's a timeless classic for you.
Timeless classic. 100%. How fun can check and dice be? As fun as Strike.
That's right. So I played Undaunted Battle of Britain with Mary, and then I was like, oh well, if you guys enjoyed that. You should play Undaunted Normandy. So then I taught Dallas Undaunted Normandy.
Okay.
And so I just left it with them. And, let
sweet.
them, explore it. Yeah.
Okay,
so
cool.
Played another game of Undaunted Normandy.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it is good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
1754 Conquest, the French-Indian War. This is an Academy game.
It is.
Father Dan and Father Greg love Academy games.
We do.
Father Greg has talked about these games quite a bit. Dave really likes these games. This is my first time playing one of these games. What? What is this? So I enjoyed this game. I enjoyed this game. But okay, it looks like a heavy war game. Like it looks like a heavier.
It's got a map. It's dry.
Yeah,
it's got cubes
dry,
on it.
It has a map, cubes, little chits everywhere, indicating different things. And you get a little deck of cards. You get a little deck of cards, and then all of a sudden you're told you play these cards to move troops on the board, and then you battle with dice. And so, really, honestly, once you play one of these games, I don't think you're ever going to have need for Risk again. If you're playing Risk, play one of these.
That's right.
It's kind of fun. But holy Toledo, the randomness in which the cards come from your deck into your hand, the randomness of the die rolls, this is a crapshoot.
Yeah.
And yet, Dave and I lost squarely, and this is cool too. It's like a team game. So Dave and I were against Father Dan, Father Greg, and that was fun. So we're like collaborating. Should we do this? Dave kept on like doing this to me. He was like, so okay, yeah. Maybe with your movement, we should go and we should get this harbor over here. Like we can converge on. With this event card, you can just go right into that harbor. We can do that, and then from there we can go and do this. Do you think we should do that? He would like hype it up, and then he would like ask as if it wasn't like what we were doing.
That's right.
And then he would say, "Oh, but maybe we should do this." He'd be just as excited about this other thing. And this is our downfall. This was our downfall.
That's right.
Because we had this whole cool plan cooked up over on the harbors, and then he said, "No, but like there's a battle waiting right here." But he didn't realize that in this game there's only one muster point for one of the players. So two of the players, one either side, they each have muster points. So the
spawn guys basically.
You spawn guys at different points. My characters, we spawned at the harbors. Father Greg's as well. The other players, they spawned at this one muster point each. And he was like, yeah, let's do that battle. And it cost us our muster point. And so then Dave was just like scrambling the rest of the game.
I just love these games because I think they show forth what is great about the hobby, which is like that there's a different game for every person out there.
Yes.
And like this game, yes, although it didn't have the strategic decision making of say Dune Imperium or some of the Vladimir Suchi games or whatever, like there was a moment where we were rolling dice and like shouting, and Dave's like teenage daughter came out and was just like, "What on earth are you guys doing?" Because
I was literally on the floor.
He fell out of his chair.
My glasses came flying off, and I fell. Yeah,
she thought it was the funniest thing she had ever seen. Like she was like, "This is the best thing I've seen this whole month."
Yeah.
Like it was just man. Like
so it does create those.
It creates those moments, right? Exactly. That's dice rolling is not a bad thing in board gaming. It creates this like moment of heightened tension where all of your plans could either succeed tremendously or fail miserably.
Yes.
And in Dan's case, it was mostly failing miserably.
It was miserable
because he rolled like horrible. And then finally, just before this video, we sat down and we decided, you know what we need to do? We need to reclaim land in the Netherlands. So we decided to play a game of Sealand.
That's right.
And you'd think Sealand would be spelled like S-E-A land, but it's not. It's S-E-E land for some reason. Anyway, Sealand.
This is the Wolfgang Kramer situation.
Yeah. A little kind of like... I don't know if abstract strategy is the right word for it, but something like that, where you're just putting numbered tiles and you're trying to get your windmills in the middle of the high numbered tiles so that they score. The windmills basically score everything around them. So, and you can score off of your tiles, you can score off of your opponent's tiles. So the world is your oyster. You're just kind of getting high point tiles out on the board, putting your windmills in the middle of them.
Yeah.
Trying to get a bunch of points. You score a windmill, you get like 35 points.
Yeah.
And you just
high score.
Yeah, you just move up around the score track. Just good you have to have a good mind for math for adding up, you know. What's 78 plus 34? Like
every scoring moment was like embarrassing. It's like, 5 plus 3 plus 2 plus 7 like, it couldn't have just been like fives.
Nope. Come on.
Had to make it difficult.
Use those math muscles.
Yeah, so what makes this game really delightful for me was the core kind of mechanism by which you chose tiles was that there was this circle, and it had windmill construction tiles, and then it had like seed bag tiles for the different crops that you would. But they were all different numbers, so like 0 to 5 for the windmills, and 0 to 7 for the crop tiles, and so there's a pretty big range of points. And so then you were able to select a tile from where the marker was, basically to however much you could afford in skipping over tiles that you didn't want to take. And what you could afford was based on another outer track where you were on this coin track. And you basically had from where your pawn was to the end of the coin track. And so sometimes that'd be 3 coins worth, sometimes that'd be no coins worth, sometimes that'd be 5 coins worth. Or 4, I guess, was the max. But that was a weird little thing to try and puzzle out. And to try, because sometimes the best you could do was a tile that was 3 value or whatever. Sometimes a 7 value would pop up and you'd be like, okay, gotta go get it. Anyway, this isn't like the best game ever. But this was a fun
It was
time.
fun. Yeah.
This is a nice little... This does like... This goes into that kind of canon catalog of like where Asara would be for these designers, you know?
Right.
Like where it's like, this is a solid game. You're going to have a good time playing this. And it's not going to overstay its welcome either. Good times.
Yeah, nice.
Well, party people, there we have it. Those are all of the board games that we played in the month of October. Let us know down below what you think of these selections, what games you played in October that you really loved. And before we go, we are going to tell you what the best board game that we played in the month of October was.
My best of the month, I think, would be The Adventures of Robin Hood.
Wow!
Yeah,
high praise. There you go.
It's a solid game, like, and we're having a lot of fun. It's a narrative game, like it tells a story. There's intrigue involved, and we even add a little bit of flavor text, in the midst of these things, and it's just it's fun. Like, I don't know, the last time we had to make a difficult choice. We had to either save the blacksmith who had been captured, or like try and find the treasure that the king had stolen.
Wow.
And we had to. You could only do one. Like, the game prohibited you from doing both. And,
okay.
And it was like, the blacksmith wife. She was actually like really mad at us because we kind of got the blacksmith captured because he helped us out, and like then he got thrown into prison. So she was like mad at us. And
yes.
We were like, well, we should go rescue the blacksmith, right? But that treasure looks pretty juicy.
Okay, my best of the month is Elysium. Elysium is climbing those ranks back into my heart, man.
Wow.
It was just I'm having such good plays of it, and it's just really kind of showing up. Because for a while there, it wasn't for some reason, and now it's just coming to the table, and it's making its presence known, and people are enjoying it, and really having a good time with the puzzle of it all. So, Elysium.
Nice to bring back those favorites.
Oh, yeah. Nice. We need to play our games more often. They need to know we love them.
That's right.
Okay, party people, once again, if you like this video, please press the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. And until next time, party people,
have the best day.